Recruiter Show. Super fired up to be here with you guys today. My partner Alexis from Aura Marketing is joining me today. Thank you, Alexis.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. So we've got a good one packed in and stored for you guys. So if you are here with us right now, if you can go in, let us know if you can hear us, but also let us know where you're at, what country, what city, what state, where you at in the globe, where are you watching from. Let's get this thing going. We got a lot of exciting things we're going to cover today. And today's topic is how video marketing is helping recruiting businesses win business faster. So one of the things I cannot stand is these hooks for training for myself. And then I don't even know if this is a proven, system. Is this just an idea that I'm talking about here? Or is this something that's proven? So what Alexis and I are going to do is we're going to start by telling a little case study from success from one of our clients, so that you can see that not only has this impacted my business and generated a lot of money for me and created a massive return on investment and helped increase my brand, but it's also done it for our clients. We didn't just create this headline here to entice you to watch this. So if you are with us, if you can go in there, go in the comments, let us know that you can hear us and where you're from. We'd appreciate that as we get this show getting started here. So Alexis, we're going to talk about our civil engineering recruiter friend. So,
yes,
just to give a little bit of background here, this was a recruiter that we started working with who was truly an expert at what he does in the recruiting field. And one of his biggest frustrations was that just not enough people knew about him and that he could help them. He wanted to grow his business. He wanted to make more money. But he really felt like he was kind of one of the best kept secrets in town. And so, one of the things is Brandon was trying a lot of what a lot of recruiting agencies do with a lot of the traditional outreach methods. And that's where he was kind of facing some roadblocks. So he was trying, outbound calling, email campaigns, even LinkedIn messaging campaigns. But the challenge was he wasn't just not a big of a pipeline enough for him to really make the money that he was, capable of making. And so, getting frustrated with the exhausting outreach methods and things like that. But then he started to shift into the content creation side. He bought into that, but then that brought another set of challenges for him. And those challenges really started to kind of, tap into more, the consistency with content creation. What do I say? Lack of clear strategy. Then I'm going to go create a video. What buttons do I push? How do I edit this? How do I do captions? And, then there's also some of that internal stuff that starts to show up, which is, imposter syndrome. So if you are listening to us, with us live right now, let me know if any of that makes sense to you. Are you frustrated with some of your cold outreach not delivering the same results? Have you tried creating content but not had results? Do you feel a little bit of imposter syndrome? Is technology overwhelming? I'd be curious to what, your roadblocks are specifically when it comes to growing your recruiting business. But Alexis, why don't you explain now and share, just how we were able to, help Brandon with video marketing and just content marketing in general.
absolutely. So I think with Brandon and with all of our clients, we really want to showcase their expertise, right? We need to build that trust by making sure that your targeted audience sees you as an expert. So we want to create content that really positions you and helps you do that and helps you do it really, really well. And then we want to create content for your target audience. And I think that this part is so hard. I think a lot of times people create content. Sometimes I think people create content for themselves almost, but they're not really thinking about who they're targeting and not even, yes, your niche, but also the people hiring, right? Like who are the people? What are they struggling with? What can you say that really resonates with them? So we really want to create content that we did create content for Brandon. Forgot we're talking about Brandon here, that position him as a leader in his field, that serves his audience, that offers value, and that really connects with the hiring managers, but also with potential candidates as well, and really builds rapport in a community in that way. And then ultimately we simplified the process. That's, if you know how to do and you understand the power of marketing, it's really challenging the process part of it. But we simplified the content process for him. So We had a 1-hour video recording call where we go through all of those types of content. And then ultimately we took all of that off of his plate, the video editing, the captions that we talked about, the graphics, the posts, and everything. But it's all based on things that he is an expert in and that he feels confident in to reach his targeted niche. So in that way, we just rinse and repeat that. Every month, we're doing the same thing, targeting his audience, creating content that speaks to them and that build him as an authority, as an expertise, and that helps build, the know, like, and trust factor that video does really well.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, I think the results that Brandon got from that was exactly what you just said, which was, he became viewed as the authority. And I think that's a key thing, that you have your audience has to view you as being somebody that can help them, an authority, an expert, somebody that can solve a problem in order to generate an inbound lead. So that was one of the things. That's the first thing, benefit that we got. But then the big result was that this doubled his revenue. So he went from over 250K to over 500K, doing 26 placements last year. And so that we're just starting off with this, just so you guys understand that this is a very proven way about growing your recruiting business and doing it faster than some of the old traditional outreach methods. From that, Alexis, anything you want to add to that?
I think that when I'm hearing you talk about that, and I'm, thinking about the way we were able to help him double his revenue, the key part beyond like that strategy and targeted audience was consistency, right? It wasn't just trying for a few months. I mean, it wasn't all at one time, right? I mean, that was like over the course of a year. And I think it's so important to remember how consistency is the thing that you have to remember in all that you're doing. And that really paid off.
Yep. So now we wanted to kind of switch into just driving home, Brandon's success came from video and, content in general, but we, this what we would talk about is just the power of video specifically. And if you're not, going all in on video yet, hopefully this encourages you to do exactly that. And I'm not saying like do a video, I'm saying go all in on video to help your business, because that's the way it works. If you're dabbling, if you're going to create one video, don't expect a whole lot, from your efforts. This is one of those things like Alexis already hit home, is the consistency is the key, not just from the content, but the video itself. But here's why video is so important. And if you're really serious about, driving your expertise and growing your business and becoming that authority, and if you want more, right? If you want more leads, if you want more revenue, if you want more respect, if you want more clients, this is the way to do that. Okay. This is one of the most effective ways that a lot of recruiting companies are still way behind the times. There's still a massive opportunity for those that are taking action with this. Okay. But video traffic is expected to make up 82% of all consumer internet traffic. Okay. 66% of people prefer watching a short video about a product or service over reading text. Okay. Users spend up to 88% more time on websites with video content. Okay. Now, LinkedIn specifically, LinkedIn video is shared 20 times more often than any other content formats in LinkedIn. That includes text, that includes slideshows, graphics, whatever you're doing. Live videos like this it will be shared more. So when we do videos, this video will probably be reposted and shared, but that is 20 times more likely. And so when you think about it, one of the things that can help you expand your reach as a business owner and as a professional, as an expert, is somebody else's audience. And when somebody else is willing to share your stuff because they find value in it, you immediately capture a big part of the audience. And that's one of the foundational key elements to being successful, okay, is to have an audience. You can create content all day long, but if you don't have people there to consume it, don't expect a result. And that's a big difference between people that find a lot of success doing these types of organic outreach things and not, is those that have taken the time to invest in building an audience. Okay. Alexis, outside of audience building, what's the next necessary thing for them to start, seeing business faster from video?
Well, you really want your audience to see you as an expert. And I think that a couple of the challenges are building an audience, like you just talked about, right? To invest. I mean, it's about just touch on that a little bit more. You need to invest in a community, and creating content. It's about you, but it should be for other people. Like you have to have a different mentality in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that audience building and being an expert really go hand in hand, because you need to think about like a cyclical community. It's not just about you being the front face, putting yourself out there, because that doesn't serve and that doesn't connect, which we'll talk about in just a moment. But you really want your audience to see you as an expert. And so you need to think about how to present yourself as authentically present yourself as an expert, and really, what value do you bring? What value can you drive? How can you call them out and really make sure that you're putting yourself out there as an authority in your industry? Some of that's mindset work.
Yep.
I mean, that's a challenge, I think, for everybody. A lot of that is mindset work of like trusting that you are an expert too, and really believing in yourself and believing in what you have to offer. But being an expert is so important to nurture that community and nurture your audience.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I think the thing is like, well, what is an expert? Like, I mean, that sometimes for people can be an overwhelming word. Well, I don't need to be the overall marketing expert of marketing experts. If I would need to be the authority of marketing if I were marketing to other marketers, right? When you're looking at being an expert, you need to be, take your target market. That's what makes being an expert a lot easier, and, establish yourself as solving a specific problem for that market.
Right.
But I think there has to be, you can't fake it, and you either know it or you don't. And so if you're not at that stage, then ask yourself, well, what do I need to do to equip myself to become, the best essentially in my space? And so I view myself that, so I can show up without the imposter syndrome, and truly be the expert to my audience. And so if you don't feel like you're that yet, then continue to invest into resources and trends and in things that will help establish you and get yourself to view yourself as the expert. Because if you don't view that right away, then your audience is going to feel that too. So, the first components that Alexis and I just laid out there for you are crucial. They are crucial. Mm-hmm. If you don't have an audience and you don't have true expertise, don't expect people to just come listening to you. Not saying you can't get some engagement going, but if you want business from it, if you want to drive true return on investment, you need to position yourself as an authority. You need to know your audience inside and out and create content that speaks to that. So let's get into that. What is the content that really speaks to, authoritatively to an audience, Alexis?
I think the first thing that we use to speak authoritatively is to lead your audience. And to lead your audience, you need to understand your audience. And this is really where good content versus great content is distinguished, because good content relies on what you know, what you have to say, what your experience is. Great content thinks about what your audience can benefit from in what you're saying, right? Great content thinks consistently about your audience, not just about yourself. It's taking the you. I don't want to say taking the you out of the equation, but thinking about your audience first, right? So we want you to lead. We want you to show up with authority. We want you to build trust. And you need to be able to think about things unique to your target audience, to the people that are the decision makers within your niche, and think about, what do they need? What are they struggling with? What are their pain points? Like, what are their challenges in not finding the right talent? And how can you help them get there? How can you lead them and direct? I mean, when you think about anybody that we follow, whether that's personal development, professional development, spiritual development, friendships, relationships, like, if you're going to trust someone in your life, you sure as heck want to trust that they can lead you and that they have the knowledge, expertise, tools, or whatever it is to guide you in whatever your problem is. So you have to lean into that and think about what those things are uniquely for your audience, and then lead them in that way.
Yeah, that's excellent. I think to take that another step further is just, well, in order to be that leader, it's what is their problem? What are they frustrated with? And you understanding clearly what you do as an end result. Because if you don't do that, you kind of just stay in that bucket of being another recruiter. And if you really want to become a relevant recruiter or a trusted advisor or somebody who, your market trusts as a leader, then what they want to know is that you understand their business, their pains, problems, and frustrations, and you can solve those. It's not just about fluffy platitudes. It's not about, fake leadership. It's really understanding that, hey, you have these challenges in your organization with hiring this type of talent. I know what that talent's costing you. I know what the open position's costing you. I know how much costing your internal department. I know how long you've had these positions open. I know the cost, I can speak to all of these things and I can provide solutions to that. And if you're creating content, and you're not doing things like that, and you're not seeing a result, that's probably why. Because yep, go ahead.
Okay, sorry. You're just getting me thinking here. And I think that if you don't really know in detail what those pains and problems are, maybe you know the problem, but if you don't really know how that's affecting them, you need to listen more. Like,
Yeah,
you cannot just be coming in with, well, here's what we do and here's what we do it well. Like, I think that people mistake that for leadership, and that's an element of leadership. But if you don't know, like, you need to be asking more questions on your calls. You need to be doing more research. You need to be in there and listening to find out what those things are. Number one, it's going to help you support them better, but it's also going to help you be better at what it is that you do and be a more empathetic and effective leader in that way. So that's something people need to ask the right questions to find out what the problems and pains are.
yeah. And I think you bring up a good point, because I think a lot of people, when they think of leadership or when they think in marketing in general, they think of promotion. Here's why you should work with me. And unless you can attach that to something they have going on specifically, just keep in mind, you're not really marketing, you're selling. And not to say that there's not a place for that in your business, your content. Of course, we need to sell, but your content really with marketing should actually be a value add and speak to your audience and be way less about promoting yourself. And when you do promote yourself, it should be promoted based off of a challenge, a problem, a frustration that you solve for your audience. That's how you can generate good traction, is when you can identify that pain point and then present your solution as being the ultimate one to help them get through that. If you guys are watching this live, if you can go in the comments, ask any questions, let us know what you're liking. Tap that little button if you're finding value. We'd appreciate that. So we've talked about the leadership part. That's a key component, really to get people moving forward. But what's the other thing, that they should be looking at in terms of, the content creation, especially with video, that's going to move the needle?
Right. So the next thing that they need to be looking at is really serving their audience. And I think that this is where the beauty of content creation can really be, because one of the challenges, people talk often about how they hate selling, right? Like, I hate selling. I don't want to be self-promotional, and what you were just touching on before. But when you come in with the ability to serve, you're really shifting that narrative, because you're offering value. And this is really a distinguishing part of effective content, and effective part of building a brand that's really attractive and has longevity. What are the ways that you can support your target audience and your niche? What are some things that you can do to actually give value? What are you coaching them on? And can you give a part of your strategy away? Are you able to share a part of your process that would be valuable? And I think that people get really protective of those things. I don't know if you found that
Yeah.
too. Like, oh, I don't want to give away too much, and like, I don't want to give away my secret sauce. And like, the reality is, you giving away a tidbit is not going to take away any of those things. Or, and I think people feel threatened, like that this is what they have that's proprietary. And I mean, in my experience, and I'm sure in your experience too, I mean, I've never heard of anything being threatened in such a way that was,
Right.
took something away. Ultimately, it shows that you're willing to bestow goodwill and value, and helps build that trust and builds a solid, positive reputation with your audience.
Yep. Well, and I think that, with that kind of coming up and showing up into a place of service, is what you just said there is the most key important element, is it builds the trust part. And trust the fact, builds the trust. You're adding a lot of goodwill into the marketplace. You're not even really looking to, you're serving, right? As we call it that,
Right.
you're really serving, people, and doing that at a high level, is going to help you build that trust. And that, the whole idea, well, how does video help us win business faster? Well, we need to get people to know, like, and trust us faster. And video bridges that gap. Now, video doesn't make people hire, of course. Video doesn't solve your ability to necessarily be able to recruit. So you have to have those things right. That's where the expertise and stuff comes into play. But when you really know how to show up and serve your audience, then you build that trust and you really differentiate yourself. from the next individual within the audience. But I think that's also, I think this is also where people kind of get stuck, is they only create value-based content. And value-based content alone is a quick way for you to get no results. It has to, you have to have a formula like the one we're laying out here for you to generate the lead, because it's not just, if you're creating content and you're not winning from it and you feel like you're delivering a lot of value, understand that just purely value-based content doesn't move the needle as fast as putting all these things together. And I think that's important to highlight, because I think a lot of people like to check the box with content. But if I'm not, again, establishing that authority of leadership, like we talked about before, that they can see how it can help impact their actual organization, the value-based content is something, to go with. But I think the other really interesting point you bring up is that proprietary technology, or proprietary information. I mean,
what is that anymore?
I'll go to ChatGPT and find out anything you have. So I think those days are over. I think that's an old school way of thinking. It's the same thing of like, I've got this, database I've worked on for years. It's like, cool, well, I'll go buy all that data. And, by going to one of these data resources, like there's certain things that are just not valuable anymore that people think are valuable. So what's the last thing that brings this all together here?
The last one that brings it all together, and that's like the icing on the cake, is the connection, is really building a connection with that community, that audience that we've talked about, and infusing a part of who you are into what you do. And I think back to the days when I did brand photography. And one of the things that I would coach my photography clients on was, you can see, if I'm looking for a photographer, I can look at multiple websites, multiple social media accounts. Ultimately, the photography is all going to look fairly similar. Okay. There's going to be nuances. Maybe you narrow it down to like the top 3 that you liked. But if I was to ask you based on photography alone, if you would remember who was who and how, there's no way. Like if you didn't have the name of the account, there's no way you can distinguish it. The distinguishing point was the human part, the connection. Why it's so important for anybody in any industry to build connection points, because ultimately that's what's unique, is who you are, how you do things, your values, and really showcasing that. And like what you were just talking about the proprietary information in ChatGPT, I mean, it's becoming more and more. I mean, if it already was engaging, it's getting more and more important to be able to build your brand in a way that connects with your audience, because ultimately it's kind of all you have. Right. Like that's the unique value proposition. Everyone's so worried about their UVP all the time, right? And like their differentiation, like it's all muddied. I'm sorry. Like it's all muddied. It's blurred. Yep. What you have that's unique, what you have and the ability to do is to connect. And to do that strategically is so powerful. And it also nurtures a community instead of just taking from them and trying to get from them.
Yep. No, I think that's the system that we've, developed that's generated, opportunities for us, opportunities for our clients. And everything that you're saying, in terms of the content, the connection, the, Chat GPT stuff, and it's all relevant. I think it also brings up, the opposite side of it, which is like, okay, well, if people can just get their information from anywhere, why would they want it from me? Why should I go take the time to create this? And it's because if you take the time to establish your expertise and build an audience, then people will want that information from you specifically because they like you and trust you more than the rest of the people in your audience. And, again, this isn't something you dabble with. Let me save you some time. Right. Let me save you some time. Don't dabble with content. Don't dabble with video. You're either all in or you're all out. If not, you're just going to create a massive waste of time, because the last thing that's really, really important here, and I'm going to let Alexis, speak on it, but it's consistency. It's being able to show up consistently with your market. And there's a couple reasons why, but I'm going to let Alexis dig into the importance of consistency with your, building your brand and video content specifically.
I just feel like this one cannot be overstated. I mean, there's no quick fix. Yep. There's no quick solution. There's no Hail Mary when it comes to, building a thriving business. And like, I would think that the really great recruiters are the ones that would say they've pounded the phones for years, they do it consistently, they build the time in their day, and like, all of that stuff, right? And that's why they're successful. The same thing goes for content.
Right.
And I don't know why people think of it differently.
Right.
I don't know why people think that like it's a quick solution. Like it wasn't. You pounding phones for 20 years, literally going to, was that quick?
Yeah.
Was that what you did for like one day, 1 week? It's consistency. And I think that, working with a marketing agency, sometimes people think it's a quick fix, right? But like the whole thing is we take process off your plate and strategy, but it's still consistency.
Yep.
I mean, whether you're doing on your own, whether you're working with somebody, like you can't control a lot of external factors. There's a lot of things happening that you can't control. What you can control is what you are doing, and that should be content. I mean, it is the way to network. I mean, Donnie, we talk about this all the time, and like one of my biggest pet peeves, well, this isn't my pet peeve. When I want to go to find out more about somebody or somebody on their LinkedIn profile, and I'm like browsing and I'm kind of reading, but I am always going to go and look to see if they have videos because I want to see what they're like. I want to know what their personality is. I want to know what they're like to work with, like what their audience might be experiencing. I want to see that. Number two, if I hop on a call with somebody, I would love to know what I should expect in that conversation, talking with them and working with them. Because if I do, I already have a connection with them that I don't need to establish on that call. Like they've already warmed me or vice versa, right?
Yep.
And one of the biggest things, like without doing video, when you hop on calls, who you are could be sometimes such a vast difference from what you are or are not present on LinkedIn. It could actually be an obstacle to getting you sales, right? The more you put yourself out there and show who you are continually and consistently warming leads and showing people what it's like to work with you. And so when you get on those sales calls, when you get on networking calls, audience building, whatever it is, people have an authentic experience of what it's like to work with you. So that's my high horse on consistency.
Yeah, well, I love how you brought it into the cold calling analogy. And I think that's excellent because there's nothing in any business and anything that just happens off of one thing. And I think that's why so many people don't see results from content, or you hear so many mixed reviews, is because first off, they lack strategy. They don't really know what they're doing. Oh, and they tried it. I posted for a month and I didn't get anything. It's like, get off your high horse and and get into the process. Be willing to eat a little bit of dirt to get to where you want to go, right? Because that's the biggest thing is it's the instant gratification world. Hey, if I needed toilet paper today, I can go to Amazon and have it at my doorstep tomorrow. And people think that their business stuff is the same thing. Well, I started creating content. Oh, I posted this video and I didn't see results. And it's like, yeah, guys, I mean, we have clients that see success from the first post that they go put themselves out there. But I think that is not a consistent strategy. That is a quick win. Quick wins are great. Inbound leads from a consistent strategy comes from consistently showing up, leading, serving, and connecting your market. So be really cautious about who you listen to and what you pay attention to, in terms of like what the realistic strategy is out there and what you should truly expect from something that's going to go, help grow your brand. This isn't something that you don't grow your brand off of one click. How long has Apple been pushing the iPhone? How many iPhone commercials have you consumed? How many times did you watch a Steve Jobs launch on the new product, or if you're into that stuff? But like, we're on iPhone 15 now. They've been pummeling us with iPhone for years, so it's consistency, but it's also consistency of message, which I think a lot of people get overwhelmed with. Oh, I already created that piece of content. It's like, nobody's following you that closely. And people need to be told over and over and over and over again, you're not the only game in town. You're not the only recruiting game. You're not the only thing vying for their attention. And that's the thing that I think a lot of people forget about is we are competing for people's attention right now. You're not just competing against other recruiters. You're competing against Target and Apple and Walmart and all these big brands that are constantly grabbing the attention of your target audience. And they're doing it with video and other different forms of marketing to pull their attention because they know that's what people are consuming. So are you a part of this game yet? Or are you just sitting on the sidelines, wondering, hoping, and wishing that, something comes your way in your business? I really encourage you to take action in your business and go all in on creating your brand. And I know we're talking heavily about video here, but bottom line is like, it's your brand. Let video drive it. Let good content drive it. do it consistently, speak specifically to a target market, and show up over and over again and really let your expertise shine through, but just be bought in that you're not designed. This isn't supposed to win. When you're thinking about going all in on this, then I'll ask you, are you building your business for February 2024? Or are you building it for the future, for the next 5 years, for the next 10 years? And if you're thinking of it that way, this is a no-brainer decision, because with everything, if you haven't started this is a skill that you'll need to develop. And the faster you get started with developing the skill, the faster you become better at putting yourself out there, which is going to increase your results, which is going to increase your audience size, which what I can get from my inbound lead generation from my first year being in the staffing and recruiting industry 6 years ago versus now is completely different, because I've showed up consistently for 6 years now. And I've got thousands of followers across multiple platforms that trust me and, want to do business with me when the timing is right. I think that's the other thing in the recruiting industry you have to really, really keep in mind, which is I can create content all day long, but nobody's going to go read my post and go, oh, well, shoot, I should hire Donnie. We should start hiring people now because he's got great content. No, you have to be there when their need arises. You need to be the most top of mind choice. And that's where this stuff really comes into play, is if you sprinkle in content on top, in video, on top of your other outreach strategies and on top of your other marketing strategies, you'll win faster because your people will know, like, and trust you faster. But it's a big compound effect, looking at it one day at a time, one win at a time. And that's how you'll win in this long game. But if you're listening to clowns out there that are trying to sell you on quick wins and how one person did this in one video, that's not it. Okay. That's not it with organic marketing. That's not it with this type of, it's consistency. And you can go ask any of the brands that we work with or the other people that you see on LinkedIn that you're looking up to going, man, I wish I could create video like them. And you've been watching them. Think about how long you've been watching them. It's been years. It hasn't been months, most likely. So get into the game. And so we've got a really special offer for you guys to help you get into the game today. What we're going to offer for 5 people that are here with us, okay, the first 5 that sign up, is we're going to do a complete social media audit for you, okay? And this is an absolute game changer. We did this last time we did one of these lives, and we ended up having more than 5 people sign up. And the results, people loved the actual audience. So what we'll do is we will review your current social media efforts, and then we're going to give you very specific recommendations for that. And then we're going to build you a very custom tailored social media strategy, and teaching you how to showcase your ability to lead, serve, and connect with your audience. And we're going to deliver this to you in a one-on-one call. This is a high-end strategy, guys. Take advantage of this. This is a no-brainer. 45-minute call. We're going to get very clear on the best ways to implement this strategy and get you clarity on your next step. And then you're going to walk away with that call with an implementation checklist so that you can go and have success with this. So if you are interested in booking a call with us, I'm going to drop a link below, but just drop a comment, drop a me, or click the link and schedule a call, or send a direct message to Alexis and I. We're going to redirect you to a page where you'll fill out a quick survey. Okay. And then select a time on the calendar that's a couple weeks out, so we have time to put together your strategy. This is a no-brainer. It's a free social media strategy, which we're building these for people every single day. We're doing this for you for free. So the first 5 people that comment or, reach out to us or book a call here on the link I just dropped will get this strategy. Before we close this down, go in and let us know any questions you have or what challenges that you're facing specifically when it comes to putting yourself out on video. And I'm going to turn it back over to you, Alexis.
Oh, you wrapped that up so well. I don't know if I had any final points. I hope, well, I'm excited. I know that 5 people sign up because I loved the ones that we delivered a couple weeks ago. It's a joy for me to be able to audit and offer suggestions and value. People get a strategy that I build for them based on theirs. It's totally unique. I use the things that we talked about today, but tailor it for you so you walk away with the strategy. And then, a checklist basically to help you create your first month's content, but then consistently be doing that, a rinse and repeat for yourself over and over again. So you can use that link, go fill out the form, answer the questions in as much detail because it helps me do the best that I can for you. And then, like Donnie mentioned, just make sure you pick a time for 10 days at least. So I have that time to really review your socials and develop that. So it's a joy. I really loved doing that work for the people that were on our call last month.
Awesome.
So
That we got Michael's in it. So Michael, if you don't find that link. We'll follow up with you and get you that link to fill out that survey. We're excited to do that social media strategy for you. So guys, thank you for joining us for another week here. We'll be back next month with another training. We appreciate you guys showing up. We're always trying to add as much value as we possibly can with strategies that are actually working for recruiting firms that we're working with right now. Everything that we just laid out today is not theory. It's not ideas. This is exactly how we're helping our clients drive their business and grow revenue through content and video marketing. So sign up for that social media audit today. It's a no-brainer, and we will see you on the strategy call. See you guys soon.